Hello there everyone, my name's Ayumu Kagami, and I wanted to take a moment to talk about something. I might be doing some more of these segments, so I wanted to talk about something partially in response to a video I saw, and I wanted to give my thoughts on it and talk about it as an issue to us all. If you read the title of this video, you already know what I'm going to talk about. But it's about monetization and microtransactions and all that in video games, and how that's affecting and changing games as far as I see it. I will not directly mention the video that I am getting this off of. I'm kind of making this because I wanted to put my insight in on it and thoughts, and partially comment on some of the things that was said in the video. So monetization in video games. First one, video games have always cost money, so let's leave it at that. I will bring up one thing though, and this is a complaint one of my friends has brought up many times. There are websites that have free games on them, and some of them are of higher quality. So, like the tanks game, it's not big high quality. The two tanks shooting at each other. Shell Shock Live takes that style in it, and you can play it. My biggest thing to say on that is get over it. Video games cost money, so you have to pay money to play video games. If you don't want to, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with someone charging for a game. I'm not going to comment specifically on price values, because the value of a game is almost about the consumer. If you're not a fan of first-person shooters, no first-person shooter or first-person multiplayer shooters is going to be worth it for you because you don't like them. So that's a tough argument to make about the cost of them. Indie games cost less money most of the time, so that kind of balances out the fact that they don't have as much graphics, story, production quality as a AAA title. That's like the whole point behind it. So if that's your biggest problem, just don't buy it. You don't have to smack talk it all the time. If you don't want it, don't buy it. And this is something that was mentioned in the video, and I'm a big fan of the new Breath of the Wild Zelda. I bought a Switch for it. Well, that, and there's a lot of games on it, but initially I bought the Switch, and that was the game I picked up. And you don't play as Link in his standard costume. The green tunic and all that, and there's no red tunic or blue tunic. So it was a little disappointing for me, but whatever. The game works very well. It's designed designed not to have you wearing a single outfit for the whole game. I know that Ocarina of Time has it so you can switch a little bit, but pretty much you except for specific situations, heater, in extreme heat or underwater, it doesn't matter what tunic you're wearing. They give you no benefit. So, but the game is designed to have you switching out. You want to go climb something, put on climber's equipment. Gonna go into water, put on Zora equipment, and so forth. So the game is designed specifically to have that. But there are a couple ways you can get the outfits. If you buy an amiibo, it's most Link amiibos. They give you the Tunic of Twilight, the Skyward Sword one, I think it's Tunic of the Sky, I can't remember, Tunic of the Past, and if you don't want to buy an amiibo, if you do all 120 dungeons, you get Tunic of the Wild, which is Link's outfit, just naturally in the game. It's not even that good to wear the tunic, because if you gotta climb something, put on the climbing equipment. If you're in the cold, if you're in the heat, if it's raining, you want thunder equipment on. You want the barbarian equipment on, just so you can deal more damage. You just want more defense in it. So, unless you're just hardcore into, I want to wear Link's outfit, it really doesn't make much of a difference having it or not having it. And it comes down to a cosmetic experience. I believe it actually does. They give you something. I think they make the Master Sword do more damage. It's a minimal thing. And there are outfits in the game that can do that anyway, just built in. And that it's a difficult thing. It's not a microtransaction in the game. And we'll get to microtransactions immediately after this. But it's not a microtransaction in the game. You bought an amiibo. Amiibos are used in multiple games. The only ones that aren't, and I think they actually are in a couple, are the Smash Bros. Amiibos. Which I think it's very clear that the Smash Bro amiibo is for Smash Bros. Because it's the Smash Bro amiibo. And they may go to other Smash Bros. Games. I don't know what other games they go to. Personally, I've never bought an amiibo. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I think it's cool they exist. Apparently, they're very high quality for what they are and their cost value, because they're the Smash ones are like $8 and the other ones are $12 to $15. Like I said, I haven't bought one, so I don't know the price exactly. Ignore that. Sorry. So it doesn't really affect anything. And an amiibo works in a lot of games. A Zelda amiibo works in all the Zelda games. They're supposed to work in all the Zelda games. Mario amiibos, blah, blah, blah. So amiibos have multiple uses, so you can't equate it to one game. So you can't call it a microtransaction. It's something you chose to buy that has potential extras, or you just wanted a little statuette, which that's roughly the cost of what buying one of them would be anyway. You just get extra stuff with it. So that's awesome. No issues there. Microtransactions, however, because this can actually impact the gaming market, and we've all seen it affect parts of the gaming market. And my stance on it is, if it doesn't affect the core gameplay, it's perfectly fine to have it. It does not matter if you can buy a skin. CSGO is notorious for this. TF2 for hats. We've all heard that joke, or not really a joke. PlayerUnknown Battleground has skins in it, or clothing, but they do no actual impact to it. So just skins in it. And Overwatch. In Overwatch, you can buy crates. Whoop-de-doo, you have a different costume. League of Legends is another example of that. Whoop-de-doo, you have another costume. It affects literally nothing. All you do is have a different costume. You could buy different portraits in League of Legends. It's a portrait. Does literally nothing but show you a portrait. So if you want to spend money on those things, it affects nothing in-game. It's just, hey, you know what? I like this developer, and that outfit's really cool. I want to support him. I've done that in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. I bought a couple of the outfits. The cheaper ones, it's like 10-15 cents at Steam Market. But I bought a couple of them, because I wanted to. I probably $1 collectively, and I've sold some of the trading cards and everything on it. So I haven't put my own full money into it. It was all Steam money that I'd gotten from Steam, and actually, ironically, some from PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, selling us some of that stuff. So it doesn't make a big difference. I mean, all it does is change the way your character looks. That means nothing to me. I think that's awesome, because it's literally just a choice of how you want the character to look. It affects nothing else. There are other games where you have to spend money to buy characters. And this is something that League of Legends does, as well as Heroes of the Storm. Pretty much every MOBA does it. Or you could buy like a... you can buy the game, let's just say. I think Smite did it for a while. You could like buy the game for, I don't know, 20 bucks, and you get all the characters forever. I think this is what they did. Maybe they actually had a limit on it, but... So you can buy the game outright and you get the characters. A little perturbed in it, because you can actually buy potentially better characters. Not a big deal, because there is in-game ways to buy the characters. It does take a long time. I will use League of Legends as an example. To buy Ahri, anytime I play the game, I play as the character Ahri or Sona. And I think they're both up there in points. It's like 6,300, and you get 1 to 300 per match you play. So you have to play a long time to get characters. But if you're already playing the game all the time, or if you're like me and you only are going to play one character, it's not that bad. And ultimately, everyone can have access to it, so it doesn't affect the game very much. Where microtransactions fail, in my opinion, is when there's something you actually pay to win the game. I understand games want money. It's like they made the game, they want to make money. They're speeding up the process in it, but in my opinion, it kind of depends on how long the process takes. If they do it well, then it would just speed up the process. Games like Clash of Clans, you almost have to spend money on if you get to higher ranks. I played it for a while free, and I got up to like 7 base or whatever. It was taking me 7 real days. 7 real life days to have something be built. That's a little too long. Or you can spend $5 and get it done now. Once again, that doesn't truly affect it. It's just the speed of it and how much you have to play the game that affects it. So it sits ill on me, but it's not a big deal. What is a big deal is when... I don't have a game off the top of my head. I know there are games that do this. You pay, and your weapon is literally stronger than other people's weapons. It has, just for argument's sake, a level 1 weapon has 10 damage. This one has 22. That's a big difference. That's not okay. Don't do that with microtransactions. As a bit of a side note, with microtransactions, I frown upon the randomization. It's the gacha style. I believe that's how it's called. Or the gacha style does affect a lot of free-to-play, some free-to-play games, having a ranking system on them. Fire Emblem Heroes did it. I played that game free for a while. And sometimes I feel like it's a little too weighted against you if you don't spend money. Like, it increases your chances from spending money. Once again, it depends on how much you want to play the game. You can get different benefits out of it. But crates and keys, which is what CSGO does, I hate everything to do with that, personally. But once again, it's for a skin. You don't have to buy it. No one makes you buy it. It's up to you to spend your money on a different texture on your gun. A different skin on your gun or character or whatever. So, it doesn't really matter. Because in the long term, your gun has the same accuracy. Now, if it does change the accuracy and it can only be gotten, that goes back to my previous statement of that is bad. Don't do that, game developers. That's stupid. And what a lot of games have started doing is adding DLC to games or season passes. There is a right way to do a season pass and there is a wrong way to do a season pass. If buying the season pass is basically mandatory to enjoy a game, in my opinion, you failed at your season pass. If it has major story elements in the season pass that are vital to the main campaign of your game, you did not release a finished game. An example outside of video games that is, in my opinion, good, is a lot of the times with like Blu-ray releases, they add extra content into it. You have to buy the Blu-ray. Or they add an extra episode that never aired, or wasn't, or isn't on the DVD release of it, usually an OVA or an OAD. But, so it's like an extra side story. It's not the ending of it, or it could be an epilogue, but the thing actually ended, and then it's like, well, here's a little bit more. So, special editions of movies, and stuff like that, they can be done bad if they release too many of them and keep changing too much in them. But that's kind of what I like to see in DLC. Bioshock Infinite, I'll talk about that one specifically because that's the only one I really remember the DLC for, had paid DLC, and it was $20 for the season pass. And it was a side story. So it wasn't the main story. You got the ending in the game. It was extra stuff, kind of to fill in a little bit of the holes in the game or to get you some extra insight, but it wasn't the story. So I feel like that was done well. Another example, and I'll go back to it, is Zelda Breath of the Wild. And also with season passes, you don't have to buy them right off the bat. If you don't want to play a game at all until the season pass is out fully, then wait. Nothing wrong with waiting to pick up a game. There you go. Because you can obviously do that. Like Breath of the Wild does have DLC. I have the season pass. The first one, I think, added like literally nothing to it. It was like 3 items or something, like 9 chests or something like that. I can't remember. It was like terrible first set of DLC. And then the second one added hard mode to the game, which changed the enemy patterns and behaviors and kind of changed the way you play the game. Because enemies can regenerate health up to a certain amount of damage, almost in like a kind of like a Bloodborne style, except they don't have to attack you to get the regeneration. So they regenerate some health. So you have to be more aggressive, but they also deal more damage. It's a hard mode, so I think it's a very good thing. If you don't want hard mode, don't buy it. Problem solved. Yes, I know it came out after the game has been out for a while. A lot of people like completed bits of it. It's hard mode. It's to play afterwards. The third one is going to have a story, which I cannot comment on yet, because it's not out yet. It's supposed to be like about the champions in Zelda more. So, you know, some backstory. It doesn't affect the actual game. It's just extras. And that's... I've said it multiple times here. Extras. That's what you want DLC to be, is extra stuff. Probably one of the worst examples of DLC is Call of Duty, Battlefield, so like those first-person shooters. It's a lot of money. It's $50 for their season pass. If you're a fan of zombies in the Call of Duty franchise, I personally am. You get one map with the game. 1 or 2. That's nothing. Like, that's like so little content. So if you want to play that mode, you gotta buy the season pass. So it's $110, $60 and $50. Or if you combine them, it's $100. And this is USD. To play what you want. Now, they actually don't make the game broken. Like, well, if a gun is unbalanced in the DLC, that can definitely affect it. Sometimes guns without the DLC are unbalanced. I've seen it both ways. So I don't want to say that they actually give you better weapons. They give you more weapons and maps. You can enjoy the game fully without it, but at the same time, it's not the same. And the price point on them is extremely high. It is the cost of another game. That's a lot of money to spend on them. So, obviously, if you're a huge fan of it, it makes it worthwhile for you. But if you're not, don't even consider it. So season passes, if you're not sure how the content is going to be, and this is one of the #1 things that I have to say about buying stuff: be an educated consumer. Go watch videos on it. Go look up reviews. Just look at the, like, basic reviews. Steam has reviews on it, so you can check the basic, or the rough user reviews. Read a couple of them. I understand, like, I don't want spoilers and crap. If you're not a content creator, you don't need it day one. So, whatever. The only reason I say content creator is just because content creators need to get content out as quickly as possible. So, that's why I bring that up. If you're actually concerned about it, just wait a little bit. Just, like, I think it was Infinite Warfare bombed hardcore or something like that. Maybe it was the one before that. Bombed hardcore. Everyone hated it. And, like, game stores were flooded back with returns on it. It took like 2 to 5 days for that to happen, so there's a huge flood of it. So you can always wait, and you can check out reviews, and for a lot of things you can return games. If you buy physical copies, you can't on Steam unless it's within that 2-hour period, or the game is truly broken. Steam usually makes an exception. So, just look up reviews. Look up companies. Like, there are companies I trust that I will just buy a game. I don't care. Edmund McMillan's company, whatever. I don't even know if he has a company name. I just know he makes games, and he usually does a very good job, so I just buy him, because I trust him. I will look at, like, trailers and stuff. So, you can always check them out. The second to last topic I have for today isn't going to be one I'm going to touch on a lot, but I do want to bring it up. Subscription-based gaming. You can't play our game unless you pay us money for it. WoW, or World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, every MMO. I know there are free-to-play MMOs, but they usually hinder your growth unless you pay for it. Personally, I hate this mechanic, because I don't commit my life to a single game. There have been very few games I've even remotely considered doing that to. Ironically, they've all been single-player. So, there you go. I like to buy a game, and then I do not pay for it again. DLC is a one-time cost. Versus World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14, I have to pay monthly. I do not want to pay monthly to play the game, because then I feel like backed into a corner. I have to play the shit out of this game to warrant the cost of it. It's $15 a month. A lot of them are $15 a month. I know you can pay, a couple of them have like 12 or 11, $10 ratings. RuneScape has a premium where it's like $5 or $7 or something like that. So there are premiums, obviously. Everything has, you know, there's always some exceptions. It's up to you. I don't like it. I don't think it's damaging anything because it's not enough games doing it where it actually is a problem. It's only MMOs, and that's because they have to like pay for their servers to constantly be up and blah blah blah. So I understand why. I just don't like it. And there are free trials on almost all of them. You can try the game out, see how it is. So I don't have too much to say. I don't pay them. I really like Final Fantasy XIV's gameplay and the stories in it and the world. I can't justify $15 a month for a game I'm going to play like 3 to 10 hours a month. That's too much for my budget. If you want to, by all means. One thing I have a bit of a problem with those, though. You have a subscription fee, and you have to buy the game and all of its DLCs. I don't like that. And those are expansions versus DLCs. Expansion DLCs, but they're like $30, $40 for them. $20 to $40 for an expansion. Final Fantasy XIV just had Stormblood come out, and it was $40. I don't pay attention to any other MMO. But it was $40 for Stormblood. It's their second DLC pack. That's a lot of money for it to keep up with. So that month I spent $55 to play the game. And you have to buy the game too, which is $20, I think. So, not a big fan of it. But the final thing I do want to talk about. I can't remember what I wanted to talk about. Yes, I do. I know on the internet it's kind of a joke, or whatever you want to call it, about pre-ordering. I've seen on Reddit a lot of hate goes towards pre-ordering games, and people like piggyback on that. Oh, don't pre-order a game. Pre-ordering is stupid. Blah, 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 blah. I don't stand with that crowd. I would say do not blindly pre-order. Before I get too much into that, pre-order bonuses, a lot of the time it's just a cosmetic thing. Who cares? Sometimes you get a poster with it, so you get a little keychain. Sometimes you get in-game stuff, and it's usually like something very, very inconsequential. I think one of the games I pre-ordered gave me like 500 gold in the beginning of the game, and 2 hours in, you're getting 500 gold from every enemy. Or from every, like, battle you do. So, it was like, hey, beginning of the game's easier for ya. We got you covered. Who cares? That affects so little of the game. Sometimes it's you get an alternate weapon. Unless you want 100% the weapon log, it does not matter. It makes the very beginning of the game easier. And I'm talking mostly about RPGs and stuff. Who cares? Also, World of Warcraft has, you can pay to skip ahead level. And I believe that Final Fantasy has that as well. I'm not 100% sure. You can like skip to max level if you pay money. Kind of comes down to the same thing. It doesn't really break the game. It doesn't give you extra equipment. Your character's still... It just saved you time. You paid to save time. So it goes back to the same thing I said earlier. And if you're buying skins for stuff, because I know you can buy mounts, and there's like $20 mount skins and stuff, it's skins. Who cares? But with pre-ordering, I said something specifically earlier in this video because I wanted to bring it up again, and that's be an educated consumer. You can cancel if you pre-order at a store. The exceptions are Amazon, although I believe you can return an Amazon purchase as long as it's been completely unopened. Like you didn't put the game in, so you don't open the game. I believe you can return that. I'm sure other online services have that, so long as it isn't opened. Steam has a refund system, so if you don't play the game, you can do that. So you can refund the game. Most physical stores, if you say, I don't want it, you can get your money back. It's usually in store credit. Hopefully it's somewhere you shop at. So, like GameStop, there are other games. You can buy other games, and it's like $5 to put down. You can either then just call the $5 a loss, or you can then put it towards something else you want. If you're going to buy the game on day one regardless, pre-order the game. Do not just come in there and buy a copy. I worked at GameStop, and there were games that were like a little shaky on their availability because of the area I live in. No one here plays RPGs. They are impossible to find if you don't get a brand new copy, or there's like 2. I'll just bring up Persona 5 just because that was a very popular title, and I wasn't working at the time, but that's probably the most recent one. In the area I'm at, there were 12 copies pre-ordered. And then special editions, but there are 12 actual copies of the game pre-ordered. The game store stocked 3. And in the time it took me to pick up my copy in the store, 5 people stormed out. Well, 2 people. 5 people picked up the game but didn't pre-order it, and then stormed out. 2 people stormed out, and they were extremely mad. Game stores don't have an unlimited number of them. They have to... In this area, people don't play RPGs. They're not going to stock a bunch of extra ones. So... if you're going to pick it up on day one, you're not going to look up reviews. You're not going to check to see how well the game did or is at all. You're going to pick it up on day one regardless. Pre-order the game. Because you are pre-ordering it. You're just paying on the day of launch. You're not looking up reviews. You're not being an educated consumer. And I do that. I look at it again. Oh, it's pretty cool. I'll buy it. It then falls down to us. I didn't look up reviews. It's happened to me. I felt very cheated before I picked up games for my Vita at the time and my 3DS. And they were hot. Smelly garbage. I didn't look up any reviews at all. I returned the game and I looked at it and I was like, wow, this got like 35 on Metacritic or whatever. Different review. I looked at several different reviewing things. It never broke 50. Well, no wonder it was garbage, because it was just garbage. So just do your research, but if you're going to pick it up on day one, you might as well pre-order it. You guarantee yourself a copy, so you're not going to be mad. You can get extra content, even if it's just like some real-life swag, and it doesn't affect anything. I know that you're paying on a game that hasn't been released. Digital platforms like Steam... I don't think they technically have an unlimited number of them. Because I remember something about there weren't enough keys, like with Steam or Origin or Uplay. Those ones you have to pay full price to pre-order. Don't on those. I understand putting down all the money on a game that's pretty... On a game you don't know when comes out, that's pretty surprising. So... that's how it is. As a bonus topic, I actually just thought of this, is two bonus topics. I just remembered another one because I was about to bring it up in a comment. Kickstarter. You don't know how much, you don't know what the game's going to be like. You're literally putting your faith in them. If you don't want to kickstart it, don't kickstart it. The game may come out later on. You can buy it. So I personally don't kickstart anything because, well, I don't have the money to kickstart things. I actually did kickstart a couple games, and some of them haven't come out yet. I kickstarted one of them, and I got a rough demo of the game, and I kickstarted it in 2013. Like a month after I made my Twitch channel. Still waiting on it. That was 4 years ago. So, and the other one I want to bring up, because this gets a lot of flack, is early access games. It says it's not a finished product. It's not a finished product. You don't have to buy it. Now, there are games that have done it well and right. PlayerUnknown does it fairly well. The game was robust enough to keep people going. I personally have put like 40, 50 hours into the game. I enjoy it. It's $30 when I pick it up. When I picked it up in early access. I feel like that's a little pricey. Once again, if it's too pricey, wait for a sale or don't buy it. There are bugs with it. It's early access. It specifically states it's an unfinished product. What you're seeing may not be the finished product. So, while that does not give developers a chance to run rampant on it, you also are buying something, putting faith in the developers. Just here, I'll read it right off of it. Early access is a great platform, blah, blah, blah. The game, this is PlayerUnknown, is being developed and with full transparency to players, and will make adjustments. It says, no, this early access game is not complete and may or may not change further. If you are not excited to play this game in its current state, you should wait to see if the game progresses further in development. That's what it says on Steam. Don't buy a game that's in early access if you are very uncomfortable about the early access system. Also, Steam has reviews. You can look at those reviews. This game has had 26,243 people review the game in the past 30 days. Game's been out since March. It is August. So 20,000 people, 71% would recommend the game. Overall, 90,075 says, yes, you should check it out. Read through some of them. Learn. See if it fits your fancy. Watch things on Twitch. Twitch is awesome. Watch things on YouTube. YouTube's awesome. You're getting to see gameplay of it. Instead of the trailer, because, well, let's be honest, trailers are garbage. Like 86% of the time. They look pretty, but they don't showcase what the game actually is. And you can get a feel watching someone play how good a game is, not really watching their scripted trailer. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. And that is my biggest thing for it. I'm not saying do not, like, honestly, vote things, or rate things, give your opinion on things, talk about things. That's the best thing you can do when it comes down to games and stuff, because that's how people learn. That's how we all learn about games and stuff, or shows, or whatever. Communicate. It's awesome. I know that was two other topics that I wasn't actually planning to talk about, but that's my opinion on them. There are developers who do it right, and there are developers who do it wrong. PlayerUnknown's has had extra content coming into the game. It's only been out for 4 months. Came out on the 23rd of March, so 4.5 months. 3.5 months. That hasn't been out that long. So there are games that have done it poorly. I understand there are games that build things up from the ground. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because it's tongue-in-cheek. DayZ has been in early access for 4 or 5 years now. That's a very long time for something to be in early access. So, but it is in early access. So if you don't want to play it, don't buy it. And they may change the game and it may be bad, but that's situational. So keep it in mind. You can always look up reviews, and unfortunately sometimes a game just, it dies. So keep those all in mind. But thank you very much for watching this video. If there's anything you want me to talk about, leave a comment down below. If you want me just to like do reviews this way, like talking about some of the shows I've seen, or games that I can't record footage of, movies and stuff like that, let me know in the comments. If there's situations you want me to talk about, try to keep, I'm not going to do politics, I'm not going to do drama crap, but if you wanted to talk about like just my opinion on X subject, like cheeseburger, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Tell me what you want me to talk about. And thank you very much. Leave your comments down below. How do you feel about the monetization of gaming, just the cost points of games and stuff like that, and how it's affecting the industry and whatnot? I know I mostly talked about what they are and my opinions on them, but thank you very much for listening. I do appreciate it. Hit subscribe to check out all the other random content I do, from games to talking to myself, looking at a screen, to, I don't know, listening to music. By the way, I will put a link to the music that's been in the description. It's all Pokemon music. It's just a video I found is super long, so I could talk over it. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye!